Welcome. If you really want to make your English pop, make it more colorful and precise, then you've come to the right place. In this explainer, we're going to dive into adjectives, the words that truly bring our language to life.
So here's what we've got lined up. First up, we'll cover the basics, what adjectives actually are. Then we'll get into where they belong in a sentence and, believe it or not, the right order to put them in. After that, we'll look at how to use them for comparisons, and we'll wrap it all up with a handy toolkit you can use right away.
All right, let's start from the ground up, with the foundation. We're going to tackle the most basic but most important question of all. What is an adjective anyways?
Seriously, just take a second to think about this. When you're talking about, say, a car, or a house, or even how you're feeling, how do you add those little details? You know, the color, the size, the vibe? What are those words that do all the heavy lifting?
You guessed it, they're adjectives. The easiest way to think about them is as describing words. They're the tools we use to paint a really vivid picture with our language, adding all those specific, juicy details about people, places, and things.
It's pretty amazing, right? Look at how just one little word like big, fluffy, or sunny instantly creates a super clear image in your mind. These adjectives don't just add info, they completely change how we experience the word.
Okay, so we know what they are. The next big question is, where do we actually put them? In English, there are two main spots for adjectives, and nailing this is absolutely key to sounding natural. So check this out. There are basically two main options. You can either stick the adjective right before the noun it's describing, like in a new car, or you can place it after a verb like is, are, or was, as in her car is new. See? Both are perfectly correct. They just give you a little variety in how you build your sentences.
All right, now here's where things get, well, a little trickier but super important. What happens when you want to use more than one adjective for the same thing? It's not just a free-for-all. You can't throw them in any old order. English has this kind of unwritten rule about the right way to line them up.
Okay, don't panic. You do not have to memorize this whole chart. But it shows you the general flow, and the key thing to notice is that we usually go from our personal opinion, something subjective, to more concrete, factual things like color or what it's made of. It's all about going from what you think to what it is.
Let's look at a real-world example. Great, that's my opinion of the oranges, right? Big, that's a fact about their size. So opinion comes first, then size. It just sounds right because it follows that natural order.
And let's do one more, just to make sure it sticks. We say the color blue before the material silk. Trying to say a silk blue tie, it just feels a bit clunky to a native English speaker. That order really does make all the difference.
All right, ready for a power-up? Adjectives are awesome for describing one thing, but they get even more powerful when you use them to compare things, which is something we do constantly in everyday conversation.
Everything starts with the basic adjective. We call this the positive form. It's just the plain old word, like fast. It describes a quality, but it isn't comparing it to anything. Simple as that, a fast car.
Now, if you're comparing exactly two things, you need the comparative form. For a lot of short adjectives, you just tack an right on the end. For instance, my car is faster than your car.
But what if you're comparing 3 or 4 or a million things? That's when you bring out the big guns, the superlative. For short words, we usually add est to the end. This is the fastest car in the entire race. So, the big question is, how do you know which rule to use? When is it and when is it more? Well, the rule of thumb is actually pretty straightforward. It's all about how long the word is. Short one-syllable words usually get and est. Longer words, like beautiful, need more and most. I mean, you'd never say beautiful-er, right? It just sounds wrong, and that's your clue.
Wow. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground, haven't we? From what they are to where they go and how to compare them. Let's pull it all together into a simple, practical toolkit you can start using, like right now.
The easiest way to think about this is like a 4-step checklist. First, figure out what you're even talking about. Second, pick your descriptive words. Third, stick them in the right place in the sentence. And last, if you've got a few of them, just do a quick mental check of the order. That's it. Follow those steps, and you'll be using adjectives like a pro.
So, your turn. Before you go, I've got a little challenge for you. How would you describe your day-to-day using 3 adjectives? Think about it. Was it a long, productive, sunny day? Or maybe a quiet, relaxing, short one?
See? The power to paint that picture is all yours now. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.